What's going on? I'm Cole. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for stopping by. For those of you who have not seen one of these, Bearded Comic Bro and I like to do a cover challenge where we ask you, the community, to come out here and show off 10 of your favorite covers for a specific topic. And if you want to know what we're doing this month, make sure to stay tuned after the intro.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son. Snapping.
All right, so we've already done DC, we've already done Marvel, and we've already done Image. So what we're going to do for this one is we're doing the rest of the publishers. I know what you're thinking. There are some people out there that are like, I could do one just on Boom Books. I could do one just on Dark Horse Books. You know, Scout, who knows? There's so many other different publishers out there. But the one thing we didn't want to do was kind of shoehorn in who could do this, because when it comes down to it, some people just don't collect certain publishers. So, you know, if we made it very specific when we got down more into these indie publishers, it might make it harder for other people to join. So if you have never done one of these, they're pretty simple. The only rules is that we ask that you show covers of books that are not Marvel, not DC, and not Image. We also say that you have this book in your collection so you can show it off. And we also just ask that you have fun. You don't even have to like the book per se. You just have to like what's on the cover, because these are just cover only. And yeah, so let's kind of get to it. So for the first book, this one's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. So I'm going to show it off. This is Anything Goes. I think this is issue number 5. Yep. And it's got turtles with machine guns. So have you seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with machine guns before? I bet not. You know, this is not maybe one of like the craziest covers or the coolest, but it's kind of funny because I have never seen or thought, hey, you know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles should have? Some machine guns. All right, and we are on to cover number 2. These are mostly in alphabetical order. The final one is not going to be, and you will see why when I get there. But we got Black Hammer. This is issue number 9. I forget exactly what this variant was, but I just love Talkie-Walkie. Was such a great character, and I just love how he's kind of coming here at you. And this is kind of set up in those old sci-fi horror style books. I really like this. I think I grabbed this at like C2E2 when I was there. I don't know if it was a con exclusive cover, but I just thought this one was pretty cool and had to show it off. Cover number 3, we have Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. This is issue number 2. This is the black and white cover. So this one is, let's see if I can get it shown here. This is a wraparound, and which is pretty sweet. That's one of the reasons why I picked. And I have issue 190 out of the 200 run for this wraparound cover. If you have not heard of Travis Gibb, he is an indie creator, and yeah, so this is one of the covers of his book, and maybe I will have a link up here to his YouTube if you want to check him out. He does a lot of comic creator talks where they just kind of go into Kickstarters and stuff like that. For the next book, we have Dead Dogs Bite. This is the variant cover on issue 3. This was one of my favorite books of 2021, and it had so many different variant covers. I love that all of them kind of had this stylistic thing where you know, you could kind of see into the city or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, the red blood of the milk coming out of the mouth is just kind of, you know, this is fairly simple. It's a yellow cover. I know a lot of people are very big into yellow covers. I am not, but I loved this one of all of these covers. So I think a lot of like where you're getting from me is a lot of just indie books that I love, but there's also going to be a lot of random Kickstarter covers, and this is one of them. So this is for White Ash, Galarian, number 1, and yeah, this was such a sweet cover. I remember I wanted to get the hardcover of White Ash, and it didn't have the options, so I had to like specially talk to the writer of this just to make sure that I could get this cover with that. You've got this kind of like dragon looking thing in the background as she's sitting there with a sword. So I'm normally not one to get, you know, more of the sexy book covers, but this was one that I had to have. Another thing that I really love to collect is metal covers. I have a few in my collection, and one of my favorites is this one of the Recount. It's got the main character kind of like out here with his two guns. This is issue 223 of 100. This was one of the ones that I remember when Scout came out with these was like sold out in fairly quick. So this was such a fun cover to get. I had another Recount cover in here, and then as I thought about it more, I just knew that I kind of enjoyed this metal one a little bit more. So if you haven't read the Recount, they are just coming out with the new arc of the Recount, so it might be worth checking out. You can go to Scout Comics and grab that first trade, and I highly recommend it. This one is sold out, so you cannot get this, but there are so many awesome variant covers for this series that I'm sure you could find one that you would like. There's one thing that I will say. So if this was a cover, it would definitely make it. So if you do not know Ignacio Demeglio, he had kind of done that as a fan art, and I had asked him if he could send me it so that I could turn it into a print, and I did. But the reason that I'm bringing it up is because he brought that up for Red Room. That was in kind of the Gore Gallery, and this is one of the ones that I picked from it. I have a lot of Red Room covers, and this is kind of one that just kind of sticks out because it is like, that pulp fiction homage, but it also has kind of the old school horror vibe. If you haven't read Red Room, it is definitely not a book for everyone, but if you like things like Saw or Hostile, it's kind of like a horror book in the gore style, where, it's maybe a little bit aggressive for some people and not really for everyone. But I think the story is pretty solid, and I've enjoyed what I've seen. So yeah, this was one of the ones that I had to grab. My favorite of all of them is the Peach Momoko variant, but that one is sent off currently to CBCS to get graded. So I unfortunately cannot show that one off. I talked about a lot of Scout books, and Phantom Starkiller is another one that I had to show off. I'm pretty sure this is either the web store exclusive or this was like a Scout Comics exclusive. I guess I can check that out. Yep, this was, it was like, I think this was a Scout Box exclusive. So if you were subscribed to a Scout Box, this was the Phantom Starkiller that you received. I really like this cover. It just kind of shows the Phantom Starkiller running away from an explosion. But I like the use of colors on this, and I thought it was a pretty cool variant. So when we were talking Red Room, I had mentioned one of my favorite cover artists, and this is one of my favorite ones from her. It is Steak, and this is obviously Peach Momoko. So if you've not heard of Steak, it is from David Byrne, and yeah, I even got him to remark it over here with a little Steak picture. So this is a pretty cool cover. I know that he had mentioned that this was like kind of when she was still pretty new, and he got her to make a variant cover. So I know that he has this. I think it's still on his web store. So if you go check that out, maybe I'll have the link down below and you can grab yourself a copy of this one. So speaking of Peach Momoko, this is the Comic Tom Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I loved her rendition of the Turtles. I thought this was just a fun cover. You've got, Shredder down here, you've got Splinter up here, and you've got, I assume that's April O'Neil in the middle, but this is just kind of a cool little cover. It's got all the turtles, and you got, my favorite Donnie down here. This was the Virgin variant. They did make a trade dress version of this, but this was one that I was glad to add to the collection. And one of the things that I want to say is that I was going to make an honorable mention and show the cover that has Bearded and Mrs. Bearded on it, because I've already showed that one in here. I didn't show it. I think I showed it in maybe the best of 2021. I'm not sure, but I've shown that one, so I can't make it the winner. It would just be an honorable mention. But as I was looking for it, I could not find it. So that is, I think, what some people will say their biggest complaints about doing this series is that you have to pull books out and then you have to put them back. And I don't know where that cover is. I'm guessing it's somewhere in my to be filed back pile, but that has gotten so big right now that I don't even know what to do with it. So I'm going to show off my final cover. And as I mentioned, I love metal covers, and here is the Comic Burrito Steak presents Jessame variant of the metal cover. This was done by Ignacio, as I had mentioned, and yeah, so it's got the three of us Burrito Boys down here. We got a little donk with his teeth, and Jessame over here. We still do have some of these available for sale, so if you haven't already and you are interested in one, we don't have any metal, but we have just the standard trade dress, so make sure to hit me up on Instagram or hit up the Comic Burrito, and we can talk about moving forward with that. But this is one that I can not show. It's got my face on it. This is probably the only book that I will maybe re-show multiple times in these cover challenges. And I figure if it's got your face on it, you can probably show it as many times as you want. I would assume that Beard Comic Bro is going to show the Jump cover with him on it. And if he doesn't, then you should leave a comment on his video and let him know that he was silly for not including himself. So that's what we have. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh my gosh, you missed this cover or that cover or this cover. You didn't include something from Something Kids Killing the Children. You didn't include something, there are a ton of great books that have great covers out there that are not DC, Image, or Marvel. And that was the hard thing about this. I think that, when you grasp it open, there's a lot of stuff. You just kind of have to go. One of the rules I always do when I make these is trying to keep it under an hour of me picking out books. I'll spend some time looking on CLZ and kind of find the stuff that I want. And then I try and spend it under an hour finding them just so that I don't take forever to do it. But if there are things that I missed and you want it in your collection, make sure to make one of these videos. If you do not have an Instagram, make sure that you just, if you do not do YouTube videos, you can put it on Instagram, tag Bearded and I, tag us in your YouTube videos and we will add you to the playlist. But once again, this is fairly easy, just not Marvel, DC, or Image books, and show them off. And we'd love to have you join us. If you do, make sure to tag us and we will add you in. As always, I have been Cole, and thank you for watching my top 10 other indie comics. Peace.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I caught handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son. Snap